Now we'll be starting with Edmund Husserl, that is phenomenology. Now, phenomenology is an attempt to describe our experience directly as it is, separately from origin and development. It focuses on description of contents of consciousness without beliefs and theoretical propositions. Prior to Husserl, one can see attempts from Kant and Hegel to describe the content of consciousness. Aim of phenomenology is to develop philosophy as a rigorous science which provides certain and undoubtable form of knowledge, free from sense experience, presumptions, postulates, etc. When is rigorous science possible? It's possible only when we acquire the knowledge of phenomena in its purest form directly into our consciousness, beyond sense experience and presumptions. It is the pure phenomena equivalent to noumena of Kant. Is this pure phenomena equivalent to noumena of Kant? In Kantian philosophy, noumena is accepted as counterpart of phenomena. It's unknown and unknowable. Noumena are accepted as things in itself, while phenomenological knowledge is phenomena in its purest form that can be known through intuition. Presumptions in earlier epistemologies, rationalism, now epistemology of rationalism. The epistemology of rationalism assumes the presumption that without any ground, the concept of innate idea is accepted. Now, the epistemology of empiricism presumes experience is the only source of valid knowledge. Epistemology of Kant presumes distinction between phenomena and noumena. Epistemology of Hegel presumes dialectical method without any ground. Now, avoidance of naturalism and psychologism. Natural sciences are not so rigorous science as they are based on some naturalistic beliefs. Hence, philosophies based on naturalism fail to reach pure objectivity. Psychologism means the effort to explain the laws of science, mathematics, and philosophical concepts based on psychological facts and laws. This extended form of psychology is called psychologism. Psychologism, psychologism, psychological explanations cannot be accepted as natural and objective. Feeling, belief, etc. cannot provide knowledge which is objective in nature. Also, modern psychology is impressed by modern science whose roots exist in naturalism. So, like in science, psychological conclusions cannot be accepted as necessary. According to Husserl, our consciousness and knowledge are generally polluted by many internal and external pollutants. So, to find purest knowledge, we have to avoid naturalistic and psychological attitude. Husserl wanted to develop a philosophy in which is purely objective and which is free from belief and presumptions. In this context, he says, phenomenology begins in absolute poverty. Phenomenological method Phenomenological method aims to capture essence of things which is the pure form of phenomena given in our consciousness. It is a kind of detachment in which all objects are put aside or bracketed. Phenomenological method consists of two aspects which are not completely different. The first is epoche. This aims to get rid of external pollutants created by naturalism. It does not mean annihilation of things. Everything remains as it is. We are trying to detach ourselves. We are neither denying nor accepting any opinions, judgment, thought, etc. Now, second is reduction. With reduction, we get rid of internal pollutants, that is psychological beliefs. There are three kinds of reductions. The first is phenomenological reduction. We try to keep consciousness free from mental stress states created by psychological presumptions. The second is transcendental reductions, transforming subjective states of consciousness to objective nature, which is essential to know the real nature of objects. Eidetic reductions, we try to understand what is presented in consciousness in universal form. Now, essence, after detaching from naturalism and psychologism through epoche and reduction, pure phenomena is constituted. Pure phenomena, the culmination of philosophical method, is irreducible. It's called essence of things. It is comparable to Platonian idea in some sense. Essence is neither dependent nor independent of consciousness. It is neither real nor unreal. It is neither known by senses nor by reason. They are directly perceived or given in consciousness by eidetic intuitions. Essence is the meaning of things which can be taken as original evidence on the basis of which universality can be established. Now, theory of intentionality. Intentionality of consciousness is a central feature of phenomenology. It aims to relate our subjective mental process with the world of objects and meanings. According to Husserl, intentionality of consciousness is always directed towards something. It would mean that knowing always means knowing something. Example, desiring means desiring of some object. Objectless consciousness is not possible, but objects of consciousness need not always exist. Example, one may think of Golden Mountain. In this context, Husserl differentiates between noesis and noema. Here, noema is something thought and noesis is act of thought. Noesis always constitute the noema. It is intentionality, which gives meaning to noetic act, which enables us to perceive objects. In other words, intentionality makes meaning determinate. Example, desires of, hateful of, conscious of that book. Quality of intention is desire, hatefulness, conscious, and that book is the object. Now, criticism. Some thinkers of the view that not all aspects of consciousness can be intentional. Example, mood of an individual. For Husserl, intentionality is that essential feature of consciousness, while for Sartre, intentionality itself is consciousness. Sartre accepts a wide gulf between consciousness of world, that is being dash in dash itself, and consciousness of oneself, that is being dash for dash itself. That is not accepted in Husserl's notion of intentionality. Now, importance. Theory of intentionality not only forms the basis of phenomenological method, but also influence existentialists like Sartre and Heidegger. Husserl and Descartes. Husserl treats Descartes as genuine patriarch of his phenomenology. Starting point of both the philosophers are similar in the sense that both of the philosophies begin after setting aside all existing philosophies and beliefs. Husserl says that idiotic institution gives the knowledge of essence, the pure phenomena, certain knowledge. While responding to Gassendi's criticism, Descartes says that he gets the first knowledge, that is, I think, therefore I am, from intuition. Husserl and Descartes converge in the idea that source of all knowledge is ego. Ego is the first axiom for Descartes, which he uses to deduce other realities by logic. For Husserl, ego is just a matrix for finding experience. While Descartes' philosophy has got the guiding goals of an absolute foundation of knowledge, Husserl categorizes any kind of goal under prejudice. Though their approaches are similar in the beginning, we can see that Descartes jumping into conclusion accepting all entities accepted by science and philosophy generally. Meanwhile, Husserl acknowledges only the knowledge immediately given in the consciousness. Now, Husserl and Sartre. Sartre was acquainted with Husserl's phenomenological method and adopted some of its tenets. Sartre attacked Husserl's transcendental phenomenology through his existential phenomenology. The difference between them are as follows. For Husserl, intentionality is one essential feature of consciousness, while for Sartre, intentionality is consciousness. Sartre accepts a wide gulf between consciousness of the world, that is being in itself, and consciousness of oneself, that is being for itself. This is not accepted in Husserl's notion of intentionality. Husserl accepts the notion of transcendental ego, while the same is rejected by Sartre. Through his phenomenological method, that is epoche and reduction, Husserl brackets even the empirical ego. Reduction of empirical ego is criticized by Sartre. The difference between Sartre and Husserl arises mainly due to Sartre's emphasis on existential approach, which focuses in some way to find authentic existence for individual. The concept of Husserl's transcendental ego deviates from this task. That'll be all for phenomenology. We'll be starting with existentialism is the next video.